or is it really I'm so am I actually making progress becomes difficult to understand because things become very steady kind of practice in spiritual life. So that same enthusiasm does not remain after years, and more becomes like now I have to practice patience now because because life is long, and how long can I remain enthusiastic like this? Let me practice some patience also. And in course of developing patience, the enthusiasm goes totally down.
So what's your question?
My question is how to understand that at current phase I am making actual spiritual progress. What are the symptoms that I should see in my spiritual life?
So you were saying from your perspective that you want to make spiritual progress. Yes or no?
Yes, yes,
Right?
correct.
So that means one day you'll feel that you are a Mahabhagavat. Yes or no? Or an Uttama Adhikari. Yes or no?
At least I will see that I am becoming better.
Then what's the best?
Correct, Maharaj. That means one day we understand that we have got the qualities of pure devotees.
Whose way?
He means the practitioners.
Say I. Say I.
Myself.
He's quite naughty in a nice way. So Bhagavad Gita answers your question, and then I also will give a further, you could say, explanation to it for whatever it's worth. So now, can you sit on the chair? Yeah, sit on the chair. So everyone can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10 entitled The Opulence of the Absolute, text number 9. It's a well-known verse. You can repeat after me. It's one of the Chatusloki verses, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So you can repeat. Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantas Chamam Nityam Tusyanti Charamanti Cham. In the translation and the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. For the translation, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. So here, Krishna, from his perspective, is giving the consciousness of his pure devotees. Not that the pure devotee is saying, I am like that. Krishna is seeing like that. Krishna is noticing like that. Not the pure devotee himself. Krishna is speaking the verse. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So this is how Krishna sees the consciousness of his pure devotees. It's from Krishna's side, not from the side of the devotee who's pure but doesn't know he or she is pure. Now, in the purport in the second paragraph, which will sort of answer your question to some extent. Sudama Prabhu's question. Prabhupada says, in the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. I just wanted to read this one sentence to respond to you. So I'll read again. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, which you described in your beginning stages when you came to Krishna consciousness, you relished the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. You were enthusiastic. However, in the mature stage, they're actually situated in love of God. So, in other words, if your goal is to become an Uttama Adhikari or Mahabhagavat, that means you are seeing in yourself how you're becoming pure. Yes or no? Answer, microphone, you have it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes. But that's not what Krishna is doing here. Krishna's, from the perspective of Krishna, he sees the purity of the consciousness of the particular devotee in different levels of formation of purity. But the devotee themselves, in the beginning stages, preliminary stages, they relish transcendental pleasure from the service itself. That's what Prabhupada says. See? It's like when you come in the beginning stages, you may feel, wow, I found it. It's something I was looking for. I didn't know I was looking for. Now I realize I'm not the body, I'm the spirit soul, and I have to go and seek out these people who are living in the same way. Then you come into the association and you're excited about it. Then after a few months of training and education, then you realize, well, I'm a pure devotee now. See? Because when you came in the initial stage, you saw all others who are in the practice already as pure. As pure. And you're feeling, I have to become like them. See? Until your own anatta surface, which you cannot see, but you're seeing others as impure in the association of devotees. So Prabhupada says that in the mature stage, one is situated in love of God. That means Krishna Prema. See? You getting it? So it's important that we maintain what is called that we are not aspiring to become Mahabhagavats or Uttama Adhikaris. Because if we are that, then you want others to come and worship you and touch your feet and and you get followers, you get name, you get position, you get power, and you become influential because you're a Mahabhagavat. And you have realized you're a Mahabhagavat. Is that a correct state of consciousness from your personal self? Sudama Prabhu, yes or no?
No, Maharaj.
So what's the correct state of consciousness for you in the mature stage?
In mature stage also, the practitioner should not think himself to be pure. He should always see others as pure and himself.
Done. You have answered your own question. Thank you. But you don't see others as pure because you think you are pure. That's the mental platform. You only see others as pure so that you can get shelter favorably in the association of devotees. And then your very food, your very nutrition, your very existence becomes the association of devotees in a favorable way. That other devotees are better than you without you expressing it externally, but you feel that internally. So even if you're in a position of responsibility where you have to engage others in service under your care in a department or in a temple, then you feel that I'm dependent on engaging them in service so that I can be engaged in service to engage them. Without them, I will not have any service. See? Now I'll read again. It's a very powerful sentence by Srila Prabhupada. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And in the mature stage, they're actually situated in love of God. So in the preliminary stage, one may be attached to a particular service and relishes that according to one's guna and karma that one is bringing with from the material world transitionally into spiritual activities in Krishna consciousness. Like when you come out of the material world and you get involved in the practice of Krishna consciousness, then you feel you are attracted to a particular type of service according to your liking. There's nothing wrong with that. Like some people like to do book distribution, others may feel shy to approach people on the street. So they prefer to like maybe serve in the kitchen and cook prasadam. See? Others may just like to give classes and preach. Others may just like to sweep the temple. You understand? So different devotees may have a different preferences according to the nature that they're bringing from the material world. It's not completely spiritual because it's a transitional stage from material to spiritual. So in the transitional stage, which is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Krishna gives you transcendental pleasure from the service itself in the preliminary stages. And your preliminary beginning stages can be a few years, many years, or even a few lifetimes, which is fine. You're still situated on the path. Because there's sadhana bhakti, there's bhava bhakti, and there's prema bhakti. Someone in bhava bhakti, in the mature stage, they're situated in love of God. But that person doesn't know that. Because that person was actually situated in love of God. He respects and is sensitive to all parts and parcels of Krishna, especially devotees. See? Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. So if someone is situated in the mature stage of the preliminary love of God, that person doesn't know it, but his activities internally and externally is to be sensitive in how he or she is dealing with others and engage them in service according to their nature, likes and dislikes, because the others may be in the preliminary stage who are receiving transcendental pleasure from the service itself. Are we clear? Yeah. So those who are in the beginning stages were feeling transcendental pleasure. If Krishna does not give them that transcendental pleasure according to how they like to do what particular service, then they'll go back to the material world for that kind of pleasure again. So they have to have a sense of feeling something higher with the same inclination that they had in the material world, but the guna and karma, their nature, which determines what type of activities that they're attracted to. They feel some pleasure spiritually. That's in the preliminary stage. But in the mature stage of love of Godhead, the person doesn't know it, that one is in Bhava Bhakti. In that stage, the person engages others who are still in the preliminary stages. But if somebody is not on the mature stage internally, where one is relishing one's relationship with Radha Krishna, then if he engages others who are on the preliminary stage and he's not on the mature stage, then there'll always be mustigosti. See? Instead of being sensitive to the nature of the person, how they want to be engaged in service accordingly, you will say, don't do that, follow me. Because both are on the preliminary stage. See? So therefore it is most important. It is most important. The more you internally become free from the bodily conception of life, that means you're free from any upadhis also. So even if there's a service position, like whether it's a position of a guru or GBC or temple president or regional secretary or head pujari or sankirtan leader, whatever, and that position is secondary because you must not compromise relationships over an issue. So relationships are more important than the issue. The issue only comes when you enforce your position of service on somebody else to follow. But if there's a relationship, you don't have to enforce anything because the relationships are congenial, and whatever you discuss, you're more sensitive with the other devotee. See? So therefore, to conclude, to respond to your question, there are two things. Sudama Prabhu, let me ask you a question. You have microphone.
Yes.
I'm answering your question so far, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Maharaj, understood.
Hold the microphone close. So now let me ask you a question. Do you like to do any particular service itself, and what is that service?
Maharaj, I like to do Harinam Sankirtan.
You like to go on Harinam in the streets. So if I am your service guide, I wouldn't use the word authority so much, it's too heavy. I am your service mentor. And you come and tell me that every day you want to go on Harinam Sankirtan, right? So I should reciprocate with your nature and facilitate you to go on Harinam Sankirtan. You getting it? Now, next question, Sudama. What service are you not inclined to do?
Maharaj, whole day sitting in office and doing some planning or management.
Okay. Give me a particular service that you're not inclined to do. Prabhu, come on this thing. It's recording, right? It's recording.
Maharaj, whole day sitting in office and doing
No,
something.
the same thing. Okay, done. Turn it back to me. He's insistent on that. So what can I do? I have to be sensitive. Right. So then I tell you as your service sort of guide or mentor, Sudama Prabhu, uh, in 2 days' time, the chief minister of UP is coming to our temple. So you'll ask, so what does it got to do with me? You may ask. I say, look, I know you very much want to go on Harinam Sankirtan, but in the next 2 days before the chief minister comes, I want you to sit in this office and I will send you people and you attend to their requests. You understand? But then you will tell me something. What will you tell me? Say, turn the camera to him. What will you tell me?
That how long I have to do this?
I said 2 days already, but what will you say? For 2 days of like suffering? Or I don't like this. What should I tell Maharaj? What will you tell me?
Maharaj, honestly speaking, I will, for 2 days, it's not much. So I will do it.
You'll do it.
Yes.
But what if I extend it? Hey, what if I get very nice reports? Sudama Prabhu was in the office, and everyone I sent to him, they came and told me, who's this devotee? First time we came to your temple and we're receiving such nice treatment. And I think Sudama is the right person. Turn around. What would you say? You say, but Maharaj, you told me only 2 days. Say something like that.
Yeah, Maharaj, you had told initially that it will go for 2 days, but now it's getting extended. So when will I go for other service?
You understand? So he's relishing pleasure in the service itself that is attached to, according to his nature. He likes to go out and see people and give them the holy name. He's finding transcendental pleasure. But he doesn't find any pleasure in sitting in one office and attending to people who come to the temple. You understand? Yeah. So in the preliminary stage, one is attached to a particular service itself. You getting it? But in the mature stage, when one is situated in love of God, as Prabhupada says, one will be attached not to a particular service, one will be attached to serving. You see the difference? One will be attached to serving, irrespective of what the service is. So in this respect, when one disciple approached Srila Prabhupada, I like to do this, I like to do that, I like to do that. Srila Prabhupada said, fine. And Srila Prabhupada asked him a question. What is the meaning of expert? So Sudama will tell me, Sudama Prabhu will tell me, expert means I'm very good at organizing and going on Harinam Sankirtan. So he's become expert at that. See? So then Srila Prabhupada said to the disciple when he said, yes, expert means that one is very experienced and realized and very good at a particular field of activity or particular field of doing something. Okay? And then Srila Prabhupada said, oh yes, in the material world they get a PhD for that. The disciple said, yes. Okay? But we don't give PhDs in service. We may give appreciation and gratitude in a particular service. So then Srila Prabhupada said, that is the material concept of expert. Expert means you're good at a particular field of activity. And that's in the material world. Srila Prabhupada said, expert in Krishna consciousness means to do the needful. Expert in Krishna consciousness means to do the needful. So in the same example, and to do the needful means not for long. So I requested Sudama Prabhu to do the needful for 2 days. So that's what expert means, that you come up to the mark to fit into a part so that the entire whole, WHOLE, is healthy for us to receive the Chief Minister of UP. Okay? So that's expert. So when you become expert to do the needful, then you're becoming mature. You're becoming mature. But if you're just attached to a particular service without doing the needful, and then your part looks healthy. Your part looks healthy, but another part is not healthy. So the whole may not function properly. That's why Srila Prabhupada said expert means to do the needful. And always the needful comes up to be done. Needful is always coming up for one time or the other. Like say, for example, you have a Ratha Yatra coming up and it's now 10 days to the Ratha Yatra festival. Everyone's in anxiety, right? Is this done? Is that done? Is that done? Is that done? Like that. So there's a lot of necessary needs to be overcome to come to that final day on the day of Ratha Yatra. So then you rally all the devotees. They may have other services that they attach to, but they'll do the needful to ensure that the Ratha Yatra as a whole is a success. Amarnath Prabhu. Is that all?
Yes, Maharaj, understood.
So tell us what you understood. Tell us.
Maharaj, I understood that in the beginning phase, one derives nourishment from service itself, and if the superior
No. And say in the mature stage.
in the mature stage, if the superior is in mature stage,
No.
okay, in mature stage, he will be happy.
No. You see what you just did? It's a little bit of a situation here. One is that first you said the right thing. In the beginning stage, that Sudama, Nath, Prabhu, he relishes transcendental pleasure in a particular service itself. Now turn the microphone on. Now Sudama, now in the mature stage, don't worry about that superior. You are in the mature stage, how will you act? See, don't go outside of you.
I will act in whatever service given. I will derive pleasure in serving itself, not in the particular service.
Good. Now in the mature stage, you can turn this on me. One more thing I'd like to add. I wanted this to sink in. So you did so far good. So in the mature stage, you engage others so that they can feel transcendental pleasure, not yourself. In the preliminary stage, you feel transcendental pleasure. In the mature stage, you bring pleasure to others. And if you don't do that, then you lose enthusiasm. Oh, I was feeling so nice in my first 5 years in Krishna consciousness. Where's that gone now? But meanwhile, now you have to give pleasure to others. That's the meaning of Jivara Swarabhai Krishna Nitya Das, and that's the meaning of Gopi Bhatta Pada Kamalayo Das Sadasana Das. Even if I don't feel pleasure, but the other devotees are feeling pleasure by me serving them or engaging them in service, that is my greatest pleasure, that others are feeling pleasurable in Krishna consciousness. Turn the microphone on him and this camera on him. So what's the last part in the mature stage? Hare Krishna. Say in the mature stage.
Maharaj, should I repeat what I understood just now?
Yes.
In the mature stage, one does not see or looks after his own pleasure, but one tries to give pleasure to the subordinates by facilitating their services according to their
subordinates.
To others.
Yeah, in general, not subordinates.
In general, everyone.
Because if you use the word subordinate, then you feel you are mature, more mature than the person, right? That's not the idea.
Correct.
He's leaving alone, purported. See how easy it is that, that when you hear from me, then you'll go outside and say, Maharaj said like this. That I am mature, and you are immature because you're my subordinate, but I meant to give you pleasure. That's called pride. You don't know you're mature, but in that consciousness, you bring pleasure to others, and that is your pleasure. Even if you don't feel pleasure, even if you're inconvenienced, and even if you're pained, but the other devotees are feeling pleasure by you engaging them in service, by you serving with them, that's the mature stage. Thank you for beginning this nice session with such a nice question. Sudama, Nath Prabhu. Next question or comment? Yes. Microphone here.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
You have some notes?
Yeah.
Close the book.
I just what I wrote.
Close the book.
Just what I wrote.
Close the book. Now, don't speak from the mind, thoughts. Now speak from your heart. Speak freely.
Yeah. The question you said that in your mature stage, you love to serve others. That is the
In
maturity.
your mature stage, you don't know you're in the mature stage.
Yeah, you don't
But
know.
just by giving pleasure to other devotees and not feeling pleasure yourself in the process is the mature stage.
How to know that? How to know that I'm progressing?
Yes. If some devotee is disappointed with you, if some devotee has a problem with you, and you know you are right? Who should change?
Me.
Why?
Because it's not happy with me.
Yes, you did something, although you may be right, but the consciousness behind your act or words may become disappointing for the others. So you should change. So the more you change in rectifying, not bringing pain to any other living entity, then you bring pleasure to them. That's how it works.
I'm not completed.
Yeah. Like, for example, I brought a little discomfort and probably anxiety to Sudama Prabhu. And I was wondering why Maharaj is supposed to answer my question, why he's asking me this question. But I did that because in the end they'll feel pleasure. So sometimes we may inconvenience somebody, and later they will feel that inconvenience is for my benefit and for my transcendental pleasure. That may be there, but there's no pain in that. As much as a mother, which I said this morning, may chastise a son out of love, that's a little different to bring eventual pleasure. Like when I was about 3 or 4 years in Krishna consciousness, some 37 years ago. So one senior devotee told me something and I couldn't accept it. But what he told me 3 years before, I accepted only 3 years later. What he said is true. So sometimes that may be that the person will feel pleasurable some time later. He may not understand immediately, which is also fine. Now go ahead. Something else?
I want to remind you, in Mayapur, you said that when you joined in ISKCON,
Who said?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
When?
During Bhakti Sadachar classes.
That's many years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said that early days, the devotee who is in charge didn't like you, but you continue to come to temple, serve in the temple. It means you are already matured at that time. When you joined itself, you were mature. Still, you continue to serve in the temple.
No. what I said, if I remember correctly, when I joined, my senior who was training me in the brahmachari ashram, for no reason, he used to get angry at me for anything. So then I thought, I joined the society. I was better off at home with my family, Maybe I should go back. But then I persisted, no, I should stay because it's the absolute truth. So then I found by tolerating him, I realized that he's improving. Then he becomes angry at me once every few days. You understand? Then he becomes angry at me at once a week. Then when he went to another temple, and then I thought I won't go to the temple because he's but somehow due to some service related things, I had to go to the temple and I tried to avoid him. But you can't. You're staying in the temple. Those days there's no congregation situation. So as much as I tried to avoid him, he said, "Oh, I didn't see you for a long time, and I have this expectancy now he's going to chastise me for no reason." But he didn't. And that means he has improved. He has?
What I understand is you're matured from.
No. It's not my maturity. It's just that I knew that he is more experienced than me in Krishna consciousness. And years later, I thanked him for that because I realized that his karma chemistry, which he came with, and my karma chemistry that I came with is incompatible. It is the nature of two different persons' karma chemistry coming together in one place, and there's incompatibility. There's no reason that he is chastising me for. And there's no reason I have to accept the chastisement. But it's just the karma chemistry. So he became purified and I became purified by tolerating. It's not that I was mature.
I didn't understand the last line.
I was afraid that why should I leave because of him? You understand? I didn't want to leave.
It made me to think that he is realized.
No, I was feeling that I needed shelter. And he was giving me shelter maybe in a crude way. Crude? Not like a refined way. So I thought of, like things like that.
You deserve it.
Yeah. But, today, he's one of the senior most devotees I still look up to. He's my friend and he's the father of two adult children. His eldest son is about 30 years of age and his youngest son is about 26 years of age. We just were together in Vrindavan in December, he and his family and I. So we are very good friends. And I always remind him that how he was so strict with me in my brahmachari days because he was a very strict brahmachari. I guess that's what his mood.
Is with everyone like that or only in specific? He was with everyone like that?
No, just with me because there's a karma chemistry. He's a very wonderful devotee, even today. He and his children and his good wife. Is that okay? Should we take the microphone away from you? So I'll give you another example to illustrate this point. See, basically, I joined ISKCON because of Srila Prabhupada and no one else at that time. Because I used to see the devotees chanting and dancing on the street, and I was put off. I was thinking these people are a little bit crazy. They're wearing bed sheets and they're jumping up and down in the street. Can't they get a decent job like me? And I came from like a graduate background and so forth. But I didn't realize that they have a very deep philosophy. So I was attracted by like an intellectual or philosophical appeal when I received Prabhupada's books to do as to do some of my ancillary subjects in my master's for psychology. I needed some books in an ancillary subject called comparative religion. So I was looking for books in all religions, whether it's Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism. So that's how I got the books. Then I realized that these people are the same people. Yeah, so I came from that appeal to Prabhupada. So I stuck with it because I was grounded in the philosophy that I can't leave this place. So that saved me. Through that I came, irrespective of how I was treated. So I'll give you another example and I'll mention the names. And both of these devotees are late now, but it's an example that's well known. Srila Prabhupada had two leading disciples. One is Kirtananda Swami and the other is Hansadutta Swami. They are legends. They're both late now. So Srila Prabhupada knew that Kirtananda Swami, he had a slight dislike for Indians for some reason. And he knew that Hansadutta Swami, he loved Indian people because he even went to Sri Lanka to preach and other places, Malaysia and so forth. So he was serving Srila Prabhupada as his personal secretary, Hansadutta Swami. At that time, Srila Prabhupada used to change his secretaries every month, and one of the leading sannyasis or GBC members should get trained up by him and serve him. So it was Hansadutta Swami's time to be with Prabhupada for a month. So part of the secretary's duty is to receive letters, correspondence, and sift it out, which is a matter of urgency. Now imagine the letter is written to Srila Prabhupada, but because Prabhupada is quite busy in so many things, the secretary has to go through his correspondence or letter, open up all the letters, open the envelopes, and read the letters. You understand? And put the letters in priority from top to bottom of which Prabhupada should respond first to, in case there's some priority things to be get done. Others time will go. Yeah. So one letter was written by Kirtanananda Swami to Prabhupada. And he had some complaints in it, but not about Hansadutta Swami. So when Prabhupada is, Prabhupada is like Trikalagya. He can see inside, outside, below, above, all 10 directions, whatever. Okay. So Hansadutta Swami, he brought the stack of letters. Quite a few Prabhupada received, right? Yeah. And he put Kirtananda Swami's letter right at the bottom of the stack. Yeah. But Prabhupada knew before that, without telling them both, because he saw the and both were like leaders, like very firm, heavy leaders that he's dealing with. Can you imagine what Prabhupada would deal with those things? And they were all not very old. They were like less than half his age, in that sense. Of course, Kirtananda Swami was a few years older than most of them. So he brought the letters to Prabhupada's low table, and Prabhupada looked at them. Because Prabhupada knew, he put it in order of priority, which should be first, like that. So in front of Hansadutta, Prabhupada knew before that, and without telling them both. So Srila Prabhupada knew that Hansadutta, because he liked Indians more, and Kirtananda Swami had a slight dislike for them, they always disagreed with each other, even in meetings, like that. When Prabhupada is sitting in a meeting, and they'll disagree in front of Prabhupada. That's how they are. And Prabhupada said, all right. Then he makes a decision and everyone accepts, even with those who disagree. So in front of Ansadutta Swami that time, so Prabhupada looked at him and he put his hand to the bottom letter. He pulled it out. And he pulled it out. So he read the letter from Kirtananda Swami. So he gave the letter and he said, you know this is a letter from Kirtananda Swami. So Ansadutta Swami said, yes. He said, now you take this letter, you go into the next room, and it's as if I am replying, you formulate a reply. So he went into the next room. And meanwhile, Prabhupada was looking at the other letters. He took his dictaphone and he dictated the replies, and then the secretary will type, each letter. It's easier for him like that. So Hansadutta is taking a little while to formulate the reply. And he brought it back. And Prabhupada saw the reply that Hansadutta wrote to Chitananda Swami. Prabhupada said, type it up. He didn't change anything. He said, type it up. Hansadutta brought the reply. It's as if Prabhupada wrote the reply and Prabhupada signed. He said, your ever well wisher, you see Bhakti Swami. He said, post immediately. So Hansadutta didn't tell that to anyone until after Prabhupada left the planet. No, the reply. So then after Srila Prabhupada left, they had the zonal acharya thing. And the both of them were part of the zonal acharya system. They're the 11 gurus, like that. So there was a meeting, and Ansadutta was recalling that he was alone in this room with Kirtananda Swami. And they're both now initiating gurus and GBC members of the Prabhupada lab. So he told Kirtananda Swami that you remember you wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada some years before that, and you received his reply. And then Kirtananda Swami is telling Ansadutta Swami, yes, I remember that letter. And he said, that letter that Prabhupada replied to my letter was the most ecstatic reply that I received in all of his letters that he wrote to me. Then Sadhuta Swami was thinking, should I tell him that I wrote the reply? And he told him. And then Kirtana Swami said, I was feeling so ecstatic. Why did you tell me that? He said, I just wanted to show you how ingenuity, how Prabhupada is a genius. That he knew that the two of us disagree with each other. And through my reply to your letter to him, which he sent as it is and he just signed, I realized that you have a lot of goodness in you. So can you imagine, Ansadutta Swami is sitting in the next room, Prabhupada is there, and he has to write as if Prabhupada is replying. He said, Prabhupada taught me that. Prabhupada taught me to see the good in you. Just by that act. So it's very easy to see that Prabhupada is more than mature. He's a natural, right? But yeah, he has two leading, pioneering devotees in his movement. And they disagree with each other. And he has to engage them and still work with both of them and serve with both of them. And he brings them together. At that time, for the first time in many years, even after Prabhupada left, immediately Kirtananda Swami got up from the chair and he went to Hansadutta Swami and he embraced him tightly. I said, thank you for this. And then Anjali Swami said, what would we do without Prabhupada? That's how Prabhupada engaged devotees, to bring them together. Where's the microphone? Go ahead.
Maharaj, Hare Krishna. You had said that when we are in the new stage, the beginning of Krishna consciousness,
Say, when I am in the new stage.
when I am in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, I relish the service
Transcendental pleasure from the service itself.
Itself.
That's Prabhupada's words, yeah.
but when I'll be in the mature stage, so as you had said that we have to serve in such a way that others get pleasure,
Yes,
and we may get or we may not get.
yes.
So as a Jivatma, he always wants some pleasure to continue in devotional service and even in material life also. So in the mature stage, from where could I derive the pleasure?
If you feel pleasure in Krishna consciousness by seeing others feeling pleasure, that is your pleasure. However, you have a sense of like a question, but can't I feel some pleasure myself? That's your question, right? Yes. That pleasure that you feel on yourself should not be at the expense of bringing pain to any other living entity. Then it's all right. And that is called Atma Ramascha Munaya, you're self-satisfied. Is that all right?
So Maharaj, I would like to just repeat. So at mature stage, if you are Atma or self-satisfied, then we can serve in a better way.
No, if you're self-satisfied, then there's no nasochati na kankshati. You understand? You're in the Brahma Bhuta platform. Brahma Bhuta prasanatma nasochati. You're not hankering and lamenting for anything. So in that sense, you'd like to bring pleasure to others. You don't want to receive any respect. You don't need any gratitude. You don't need to receive any thank you. You know? You are self-satisfied in just serving. And in that foundational consciousness in the heart, you can easily bring transcendental pleasure to others.
Maharaj, just wanted to add in this.
Because that's the Brahma Bhuta platform.
So Maharaj, in the Brahma Buddha platform, like we will be engaging devotees and getting pleasure, seeing them happy. But can there be any other source of pleasure also, like seeing the Lord and being happy? Because that is also like Atmaram only from our own only.
For example, let me ask you a question. Do you get a lot of pleasure when you are hungry and they say now it's breakfast prasadam time? Yes or no?
Yes, Maharaj.
That's personal pleasure. And you look forward to honoring prasad, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes. Now the other thing is when you go for deity darshan, so before the doors open and before the conch shell is blown, you blown, and then the curtains open, you're eagerly looking for the darshan. So that eagerness to see the Lord at deity darshan at 7:30, right? Yeah. So you look forward. That is transcendental pleasure. You're not bringing pain to any other living entity.
Yes, Maharaj.
So there's many things that you can feel some internal pleasure, which is a guyatamam situation. It's your personal intimate feeling for Radha Krishna. It's not to be shared with others.
Yes, Maharaj.
Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj.
Microphone here. What's your name again? Tell me.
Hari Gauranga Das.
Hari Gauranga Prabhu. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
You have wrote it down.
Yes.
Okay.
Maharaj, if I am not in the mature stage of the Krishna consciousness, but I'm trying to engage others, because of the hour of need, I may be put in certain position where I'm engaging other devotees. And while engaging, certainly they will do a lot of mistakes and they're not doing in the way I wanted. So they bring a lot of pain to me. So in the frustration, I sometimes try to chastise in front of them, and sometimes back with other devotees, I'll try, this devotee is not doing like this. While knowing that their nature is different, but at the same time, because I'm not mature, somehow I'm trying to push my own things. So there's a lot of pain which we experience. So what is the suggestion that you give to me? So what I should do at this stage?
In Srila Prabhupada's time, from 1966 to 1977, the devotees were barely 10 years in the movement, right? So they were very young even in their Krishna consciousness. But fortunately for them, they had a very, very, you could say, elevated. There's no one better than Srila Prabhupada as their spiritual leader and guide. You getting it? So having Srila Prabhupada there, many things were reconciled, even if two devotees are immature in their dealings, or even if the devotee who's engaging others is immature, and the devotees themselves who is engaging are immature. So Prabhupada reconciled many things. Yeah. Now, having said that, the movement is still 50 years young. So I've been around in the movement for whatever it's worth for just over 40 years. See? So nowadays you may get some devotee who may be in the movement for well over 10 years, maybe even 15 or 20 years. And there's much more educational and systems now to train devotees than in Prabhupada's time. You getting it? Yeah. So what Prabhupada went through to keep the movement together, despite the inverted commas so-called immaturity of the devotees, or maturity, but they had full faith that they listen to whatever Prabhupada says. See? So based on the same principle, if you have one devotee who is a mature spiritual leader, it doesn't have to have a position of it, whether he's initiating guru, sannyasi, GBC, or temple president, or brahmana. But everyone knows that this person is not attached to become detached. This person is non-attached and unattached. Prabhupada uses those other two words. So if that person is present in the devotee community or in the temple, then everything can be reconciled to that person. Srila Prabhupada gave an example of a village, of any village in the traditional sense of the Bharata Bhumi culture in India. Srila Prabhupada said that without any votes or without any democratic idea, every village has an elder. And the elder is naturally growing from another elder that was in the village before. So everyone naturally is drawn towards a particular person or persons. It could be a Mataji or it could be an elderly Prabhu, man. Yeah. But that elder, by their own natural nature, gives wisdom to the entire village people. In fact, there's not even a justice system. There's no court of law in a village. Naturally, everyone goes to that person, and whatever that person says, irrespective of the disagreements, they will follow. They will say, okay, let's go to ask. What do you call that in your local language, like in the head of a village? It's like a natural head. Panchayat. Sarpanch. Yeah, something like that. So in other words, everyone knows him even when he was a small boy. Now he's an elder, 60, 70, 80 years of age. And everyone grew up together with him. Even the other elders grew up with him and said, no, we have to go to him. See? So in the same sense, in our devotee community or devotee temples, we have that person. just as we had Srila Prabhupada. And that's not difficult to come by. You'll get that person. But that person is not in a service position. Is free from any upadis in that area. And everyone gravitates towards that person. Okay, if you say finally this, that's fine. But he lives in the community. He doesn't come from another place or something. He lives with you. That's the ideal. He's seen as an elder, not necessarily in age, but as an elder in the community. You get that? Yeah. I remember in my own family and extended family, although I was brought up in Durban, South Africa, the Indian culture was still very strong. And I know my mother's eldest brother was the elder in the family. And when he passed on, then my father's elder brother became automatically. In other words, it's a natural thing. If for anything, whether it's education, marriage, whatever we go. So in the same way, for anything to reconcile between devotees, you go to somebody that everyone is gravitating towards to like sort of reconcile whatever the differences are. Is that okay? Now, in the immature stage, like you said, and then one may have to engage others who are also similarly the same way, right? But you'll become mature. You'll eventually become mature. Because as I always often quote from Srila Prabhupada, who told His Holiness Giriraj Swami, a good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. Got it? Yeah. So in the immature stage, that may happen more. There may be more bad judgment. But as you mature, you lessen that. And that's your experience. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. So that's going to happen. I don't know how much time more we have. How much time? We went over an hour already. What time you normally conclude?
4:30.
So we have another sort of little over 15 minutes. You have
Can
more?
I adjust
Yes.
a little bit? So, as you said, that we need to have a person who's not having a position, but who everyone is looking towards that person, and he can reconcile everything. In the absence of such a person, when I'm not finding anyone, so my option is, can I withdraw from that service? Because I'm not mature, unnecessarily I'm getting troubled and I'm troubling others. So let me.
I wouldn't take it that such a person does not exist, because our movement have come a long way. How many of you are in the movement now for 20 years or more? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, within 20 years to do the same process and just still be there steadily says something, which is more than in Prabhupada's time. See, I'm sure you can find somebody who may have some type of position that they may be neutral even to their position you can speak to. You find somebody, but they must be spiritually grounded. They must have like, it's like going to the wise one. The wise one is not affected by what he tells you to do or not to do, because he's not going to benefit from it. There's no political agenda for the wise one, or there's no position or influence that he has to maintain. So go to such a person. And that's available in every devotee community. We've been around for 50 years. Surely you will get that. You just have to look carefully. You may not get it 100% in a person, but at least to some extent, those devotees who are wise and who are non-attached or unattached to anything else will give you the best decision. Like I had one devotee come to me yesterday morning from here, and he asked me something, and I gave him an answer. But the answer he accepted because he knew that I'm not going to benefit from the answer I gave him what to do because I don't stay here. But at the same time, I gave an answer in principle because I'm not here. Yeah. But the wise one who lives with you can give the answer more, not just in principle, but in practicality too. Is that okay? Because the wise one knows others also. I may not know everyone on a day-to-day basis because I don't. So I can give some principle. And usually answers when somebody asks me when I go to a particular temple and I don't live there, I'm there for some days and so forth. I give some answer from the scripture or some principle. But if I'm living there, then I may give a practical answer, which is better. See? Is that okay? We always may feel that there's no one like that, or we always may feel how long do I have to do this service and it's going on like this and so forth. No. And there is hope within the community itself. You just have to look more carefully and you'll find the persons to help. We can take one more question, I believe. Microphone there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Right. What's your name?
Maran Gopal. This morning you said the Lord Varahadev is first expansion of the Lord, but
It's considered an incarnation.
first incarnation. So not expansion. And I was going to ask,
Sometimes they may say like that.
I was going to ask that we also see in some
Because the chapter is called Scheduled Incarnations. So it's an incarnation.
I was going to ask that since sometimes we see that Lord Balaram is said to be the first expansion of the Lord.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj.
Krishna is Swayam Rupa and Balaram is Swayam Prakash. Banga Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, you said, Prabhupada quote, you said that in the mature stage, the devotees are not inclined towards doing particular service, but they're inclined towards service. I'm paraphrasing. Serving, yeah. Serving. So I was thinking that sometimes even in what I observed is even in mature stage, devotees have certain inclination, even if they are advanced. For example, in our community, in our ISKCON movement, we see some devotees feel that, oh, I'm like Sudhamanath Prabhu said, sitting and managing and planning is difficult. So even in mature stage, like advanced devotees, they feel, oh my God, I can't deal with GBC meetings, etc. They resign also. Some in a mature stage. So I also, in Sastric point of view also, we see that Hanumanji doesn't want to serve as a gopi. He wants to serve in that flavor only. So that's what is.
You've given various examples.
Yeah.
But the various examples are not similar in nature. So tell us your question on a practical level on the ground in relation to yourself.
Yeah. I was trying to even tell from Sastric point of view and ground level point. Yeah.
Let's
both.
get practical.
Yeah. Practical is this GBC. That is one.
Were you a GBC member and you resigned?
Oh.
You don't worry about others. It's like Dhamanath was saying, what if somebody else is mature or immature? I said, you speak from your personal perspective.
I am in a very preliminary stage because I can't take this question. Because my question is pertaining to principle. I understand what is
Yeah,
how.
you see, we have to be a little cautious that we should always respect people in their absence. Unless there's a group of mature devotees or discussing somebody who's not there as a well-wisher to help that devotee, that's a little different. You understand? But devotees shouldn't get together and criticize, everyone criticize the same devotee, and the poor fellow is not there. So we should respect persons in their absence, even if they are wrong. Even if they are wrong. So you can imagine that how that if somebody is if a group of 5 devotees are in a meeting and they're talking about in a critical way about Tribanga Gopal Prabhu in the meeting. So then one of the devotees in the meeting feels sorry for Tribanga Gopal and he comes to Tribanga Gopal and says, and they discussed you in the meeting. How will Tribanga Gopal Prabhu feel? They're speaking behind his back. How can they do that? So similarly, we shouldn't do that to others. You'll know how you feel if somebody speaks behind your back. So therefore, it's most important to follow a principle is that we should respect people in their absence, even if they are wrong. Even if they are wrong. It's not fair otherwise to the person. So therefore, when Tribanga Gopal is asking a question, I'm telling Prabhu, can you speak from your personal perspective? It's much better. It's much safer. So then we'll avoid even subtle offenses within the mind. If necessary, we may have to discuss people's weaknesses. But if it's as a well-wisher to help the person to overcome it, that's a little different. So now, what is your comment or question?
In the positive light, what I was asking is that they even in the mature stage, people have a flavor. So that's not wrong. I meant in that
People have a flavor.
that they want to serve in a particular way, even in a mature stage, or they can't deal certain aspects when even if they are in a mature stage.
So
So
can you give me your own example? That you are in a mature state, but something you can't deal with.
I can imagine myself to be in a mature stage and ask an
Okay,
example.
imagine and give us.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if I become mature, I feel that I will, release more in contemplation while reading books, etc., and bring out some insights and try to serve devotees in that way, helping. So but if I was told to do some other things, any other things, then it may be an emergency duty. I will surely do it, but I may inclination wise, I may feel that okay, this is what I would like to do still, even if I am in the mature stage.
Okay. Now, what happens is that Srila Prabhupada says that you may have your plan, I may have my plan, but Krishna has his plan. And Srila Prabhupada even says, Krishna has his plan for me and for you. So sometimes in very odd ways, unexpected to you, Krishna may arrange for you to do some service because the ultimate goal is to come closer to Krishna and Radharani and please them. So you may not like the unexpected turn on events on your life to do a particular service that's not to your liking. But if you look at it as a higher arrangement from Krishna, the ultimate goal is to give pleasure to Radha Krishna. So that's the mature stage. Did you see it as a higher situation, Krishna's plan? So then it becomes easier to do service that is given to you to fit in with the others, or if it's not likable, then you'll do it because you want to come closer to Radha Krishna. So therefore, that is the basic a definition of pure devotional service. What is it? Anya vilasita sunyam jnana karma adi anamritam anukulyana Krishna anusilanam bhakti. So if it is anukulyana Krishna anusilanam, then you know you're giving pleasure to Radha Krishna. Although you may not feel pleasure now, because this service you're doing is not inclined to doing, you may have to go through some sacrifice and austerity to perform it, or even some inconvenience and pain sometimes. But you know, at the ultimate stage, it brings pleasure to Radha, Krishna, and that is your pleasure, to make them feel pleasure. Tribhanga Gopal, is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj, I understood the principle.
Yes. So the principle is that we should always look inside of ourselves rather than bring examples outside of ourselves. And that's the safety net of maybe reducing or lessening Vaishnav aparat practically to nil. Yugal Sham, you have your hand up. You are something, maybe some mudras. So there's a question online or there from Kunja Bihari. You already asked a question. You already asked a question. Can I take this new question from somebody else who didn't ask yet? Oh, Lalit. Hare Krishna. Microphone not on.
Now you can speak. Please explain Hamarasan Maharaj.
Lalit, Madhav Prabhu ki jai. But you're not on camera.
So sometimes we get services which are not like,
wait, 1 second. Tribhanga Gopal Prabhu agitated you a little bit?
I'm not able to hear you, Maharaj. 1 minute.
Okay, tell us your question.
Question is, Maharaj, when we get some services, it is not my inclination, but we are doing it anyway. So I feel it's a services given to me.
When I get some services, we don't have the inclination, but doing it anyway. That means
Yeah,
you
and
don't,
then
that means you
I
don't
feel
feel like doing it,
qualified.
right?
I'm doing it anyway.
That means you don't feel like doing it, right?
I'm not qualified, still I'm getting the service. Like management service, I'm not a management person, but I'm doing all the time management. So that's why I feel whether sometimes there is dissatisfaction because I am not qualified, I'm doing the services.
Okay,
so that's
you are talking about how you feel, right?
Yeah.
How do the others feel?
I don't know, Maharaj. Maybe they feel more I'm a spontaneous person. So whether I'm okay or no, I don't know.
And Lalit Madhav Prabhu, when you are doing your service which you're not inclined to, are you bringing pleasure to others? Yes
I
or
don't
no?
know, Maharaj.
Huh?
I don't know, Maharaj.
You must be knowing.
Mostly they don't feel pleasure for my services.
Then you can ask them how you can improve to serve them better so that you will feel pleasure then.
Okay, Maharaj.
Have I answered your question?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes.
But you don't like the answer?
Yes, Maharaj.
And do you like the answer?
No, I did not. Somehow that I am not able to.
Now, our duty is to bring pleasure to others, especially for devotees, and that brings pleasure to Radha Krishna. Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj.
All right, try your best.
Thanks. Thank you.
All glories to Prabhupada. All right, it's time now, according to this clock. What should we do? What time is lunch for you? Oh, it's lunchtime already. All right, you should look forward to that pleasure upon lunch prasad. So Revati Pati Prabhu, the senior administrator here, is going to give pleasure to Sudama to ask his question. That's what he said. Give it to Sudama. Hey, stand up. Camera on in. Stand up. Microphone. He was so expressive, not. Your hands went like that. And do it again. What happened? What did you say? I didn't hear. What did you say?
I was just saying that
Look at him.
he is very inclined to give pleasure to him, but he was not so inclined to give me pleasure by asking in the end today morning. Like that, I felt. Maybe for the betterment of so
let
many.
me ask you a question. Ready? You know what he's talking about. He's giving him a chance to ask question in the end, but he never gave him a chance to ask question in the end this morning. But he gave him a chance. But I didn't give him the pleasure to ask his question. Why are you blaming him? Because the microphone came to you, right? Yes or no?
No, Maharaj. Yes. I felt like that.
No. He didn't stop you from asking the question. And the microphone came to you, yes or no?
Yes, yes.
So how can you say he didn't?
And you also told you can ask.
Yeah, I said you can ask.
Yes.
But it was my interaction with you to see you descending from Golok Vrindavan as a Gopa. And I was wondering why he's asking a question. And then you yourself said you don't have a question. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes or no?
Maharaj.
It's on video.
Yes, Maharaj. Actually, the statement you made, I felt I should ask anything in the rest of my life to you, because you made a statement which was like I was unable to fully understand and accept. So I refrained from it.
So Sudama, not Prabhu, can we take his question as the last question? It's a sacrifice from you. Right? So leave the microphone here. So go and take his blessings to ask the question. Touch it. You touch it.
Revati Prabhu will be very happy.
Put him on camera.
Revati Prabhu will be happy. And you are doing Harinam, which is Yuga Dharma. So Lord Chaitanya will be happy. So please. And you like that.
I'll ask somebody else.
Otherwise, you bless me.
So bless him. Touch his head. Don't laugh. Put it on camera. Yeah. You're getting more appetite for prasad. So Sudama, not Prabhu, say, I bless you to ask the question. Tell him. Tell him. Bless him. blessings are coming from anyone, not from senior or junior.
On behalf of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
You're doing well, go ahead. At least he's smart. He's acknowledging where he receives the blessings from. So say loudly, give the microphone. There. On behalf of, say that.
I bless on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj that may you ask the question.
Perfect. He's doing it spontaneously and with his heart. Now ask your question.
Maharaj, so
And
this
don't blame Rivatipati or anything. He didn't do anything.
yes, Maharaj, I'm sorry to do that. I'm sorry for doing that.
Then you have to take forgiveness from Rivatipati.
Yes, yes, I will.
You beg forgiveness, right?
I will do it in a way pleasing to him.
According to your terms, okay. In other words, you should know how to touch somebody's feet without them knowing you're touching the feet. Right? You know how to do that.
Yes, I'll try to do that.
Especially when he's fast asleep, you can easily do it.
Yes, yes.
I gave you the idea, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What's your question?
Maharaj, you being a great book distributor, and in
I'm
the
not
history,
sure. I like to do it, but I don't know whether I'm great.
you are well known and with so many years of distributing books of Srila Prabhupada, which is one of the thing which gives pleasure to Srila Prabhupada a lot. So I've been thinking this question for many years that these announcements of book distribution scores in the morning, when did it start and was it there at the time of Srila Prabhupada? The announcements of, because so many devotees are doing so many services nowadays, but only one thing is being announced to the deities. So I wanted to know the history of it and then how it began and what is the purpose of it.
Good question. Give the microphone to Sarva Lakshan. Prabhu, he may be able to answer.
What do you expect from me?
He's asking a question about why only the scores for book distribution is announced in the morning for the pleasure of the deities.
Maharaj, what I have seen that in other temples, they are announcing the score of food for life also.
And how many people chant Hare Krishna Japa?
Yes.
And how many persons give donations, like in Vrindavan
yes,
temple?
yes.
So not only book distribution.
Yes.
What else?
Yeah, so many things. In some other temples, they do these things, but in our temple, we announce only book distribution.
And chanting.
Harinam. Nowadays, we have started Harinam also.
Yeah. So what you could do is you can write a nice letter to the temple council here. Right? And say this, and let's see what the response is. So now I'll give you the history. When Srila Prabhupada encouraged how the movement should be spread, he gave it in 3 ways. But especially in the beginning days, through book distribution to distribution of the holy name. That means going on Harinam Sankirtan, which Sudama, Nath Prabhu likes to do. There's no order of priority. And then later on in 1975-76, Srila Prabhupada emphasized prasadam distribution. Book distribution, prasadam distribution, and distribution of the holy name. Now, you cannot give a score to distribute the holy name, but you can give a score like how many people chanted japa, new people. Some score is there. But you can give a score for chanting the holy name in Harinam Sankirtan of how many hours devotees went out to chant the holy name. So maybe you can include that. Devotees went out in the streets on Harinam Sankirtan and chanted for 6 hours today. They do that in some temples also. So if you distribute the missionary spirit in the announcements itself to the deity, at least if you announce the missionary spirit results, and then everything else is a support for that. Like the deity worship, the cooking, the cleaning, and so forth, is to support these three activities, because that's how we all came into contact with Krishna consciousness, through one of these three. So that's most important for Srila Prabhupada as the forerunning activities of the missionary spirit, which should be inculcated in every devotee's heart. So if the devotee is not necessarily doing book distribution or prasadam distribution and distributing the name, but those who are doing that are bringing people for deity darshan. You understand? Those who are doing that are bringing people into the association of devotees. And those devotees who are exclusively doing deity worship or cooking in the kitchen, when the new people come by the efforts of these preachers who are doing one or two or three of these activities, they are supporting those three activities. You getting it? Yeah. Now, I'll give you an example. Sometimes you may find that, well, I have that experience in some places that I go to preach, but so they kind of become sort of interested in Krishna consciousness for whatever it's worth when I preach to new people, like that. So some of the new people will tell me, and I'm visiting that area. I'm not going to stay there for long. So some of them tell me, so Maharaja, how long are you going to be here? I'll say another 5 days. Then they said, can we come and meet you? See? Then I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell them because I'm not staying in the temple. I'm staying nearby the temple. There's no facility in the temple. And nearby, I'm staying in some like place where they got for me temporarily to stay. So somehow I cannot say that they can come and meet me. See? And then I realized, well, what's the value of my preaching? That I'm preaching to new people, they're interested, but they cannot come to meet me somewhere, neither can they come to the temple, because if they come to the temple, nobody will receive them. They won't even get prasad. They may get not a very good experience. I don't want that to happen to them. See? You with me? Yeah. However, here in NVCC project here, if you preach, when somebody comes to the temple, is there somebody to receive them, somebody to take care of them? Yes or no? Yeah. So they are very important. They are very important. The deity worship, so nice, beautiful darshan, prasadam, place is clean. So your preaching is dependent on those devotees in the temple to receive those people who come when they get interested in Krishna consciousness. See? It's not that we preach and we don't have a support system for new people to be taken care of. So then I expressed it to the local leaders. I said, I went and preached, and these persons are ready to come, but you're not ready to receive them. So do something about it. But yeah, you don't have that problem. You have a system where you can receive new people that you preach to. So that is very, very important. See? So in some places where they don't have that support system, I just go out and distribute books. If they read the book and become devotee and their own in practice, that's okay. Getting it? So you're very fortunate here. Yeah. Then to just to respond to your question as a final thing that I normally say is that eventually in the internal mature stage, one should come to the point in one's own consciousness that I don't need to. Okay, before I say that, why there's a reporting of books distributed? Because the reporting was first going to Srila Prabhupada. And the reporting was also going to Srila Prabhupada of how many hours they used to go and chant the holy name. Because in the initial days, there was no prasadam distribution except when they come to the temple, they get a Sunday feast. Because in America, you cannot distribute food on the street. They think you're going crazy, you think we're poor or something. You understand? So prasadam distributed initially started only in India, from Mayapur actually. Started for the poor who don't have food. But it's prasad. Yeah. So when Prabhupada used to receive reports about how many hours a day, sometimes devotees had nothing else to do but go and chant for almost 12 to 16 hours on Harinam on the street and only distribute back to Godhead magazine. That's the only literature they had. So they'll give Prabhupada scores of how many hours they went and chanted and how many back to Godhead magazine they distributed. So Prabhupada became very pleased, and he wrote back, oh, this is giving me life. Then he started translating, and that's giving him life. So he's very pleased when his books are distributed. So it encourages him to translate the next canto, the next canto, the next canto, the next volume. So that's how book distribution scores are read to the deity, because Prabhupada is pleased. In other words, to give the scores to the deity is not that we should be glorified. We are glorified. There's so many devotees in this party, than that. You have to mention who did that. They don't need the glorification. The deity is personal. The deity wants to hear, and Prabhupada wants to hear. So you bring them pleasure. We okay? Yeah. Now you can imagine. You can imagine that you're in a place called Rwanda in East Africa, right? Samarpan Gopa and Sudama Nath Prabhus have been sent to Rwanda to start the Krishna consciousness movement. And in Rwanda, I went there. We are not registered as a society yet. We don't have a center. So then the both of you are sent. Now you go out on book distribution, right? And when you come back to the temple, you want Prabhupada to hear your scores, right? Because it gives him pleasure, not you pleasure. And you'll read out your own score. At least, yeah, the announcement is made by somebody else who read out other people's scores. But imagine you reading your own score. But you got to do it, right? Yeah. And we went out for so many hours of Harinam. Prabhupada likes to hear that, to give him pleasure. And that is why he has appeared in this world, to make people Krishna conscious, and those people who are Krishna conscious to spread Krishna consciousness. So that's okay. Especially those scores. Book distribution, prasadam distribution, now japa and harinam. Japa and harinam, similar. Is that all right? Yeah. But as you mature internally, which I'll end with now, in your Krishna consciousness, like that, the reward that you receive to engage in any service, whether it's book distribution or whether it's cleaning the temple room or whether it's management and administration or whether it's doing some office service every day, the reward is the continuity of the service itself. So the actual reward in Krishna consciousness is the service itself that you are performing. You don't stop serving. That's the actual reward. So therefore, we should come to that internal realization gradually, that the service itself is my reward. Is that okay? Thank you. Thank you very much. I have you late for 20 minutes for Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Kuri Vaishnav Vrind ki, NVCC ISKCON Temple Brahmacharya Ashram ki lunch prasadam ki Thai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
His Holiness Bhakti Bhagavat Swami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.